The Blues Fan Forum podcast is presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media Group. I-70 strives to bring you the best sports coverage in the tri-state area. Find them on Facebook or at interstate70sports.media.
This is Jordan Bennington, and you're listening to the Blues Fan Forum podcast.
Skating on the ice, under St. Louis city lights, where the Blues play with all their might. Jordan Cairo, fast on the attack, but defense falters, gotta cut him some slack. In rubber tones, we find our glory, his skills shine, the team's best story. St. Louis Blues, we wear the crest. In Jordan Bennington, we put our trust to the test. On the ice we fight, and we must, for the city we love. In the blue no we'll thrust.
Hello there, everybody, and welcome to episode 147 of the Blues Fan Forum podcast, your source for Blues news, views, and fan interviews. Presented by Scooters Coffee. Blues fans can score amazing drinks like the signature Carmelicious, served hot, iced, or blended, with world-class espresso, fruit smoothies, Scoot energy infusions, and so much more. That is amazing people, amazing drinks, amazingly fast. Scooters Coffee. I've not been getting Scooters Coffee as much because I only like the iced coffee, and it's definitely not an iced coffee type of weather we've had recently. But I've enjoyed not having to work today, and we are also off tomorrow, so we might even be off on Wednesday. I guess the buses can't even get out. We're back, episode 147. Dakota is here. How are you, Dakota?
Good. I think we survived Snowmageddon. I was going to give you a little clap because you're almost there and you didn't mess anything up, and then all of a sudden, we stumble over our words. We talked about that 2 podcasts ago, but still, nonetheless, again, maybe if I say it again this podcast, let's talk about some greener pastures. Maybe we're on the hunt for a first-round draft pick. We'll get into it this podcast, but who knows? We could turn it around. This could be the podcast where we turn things on. Doubtful.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll have to see which direction we want to turn it on. Do we want to get better, or we just want to get worse so we can get better in the future? And that decision, I guess, is going to come up to Bruce tonight. Special guest Bruce, how are you?
Hey, nice to meet you guys. Nice to be here.
Yeah, and you were on before. What episode? You said we were talking before this. You said that you came on when Drew Bannister was still the coach of the team. Do you remember what episode that was?
I don't, but Dakota was unavailable. It was just you and me.
Okay, I could pull it up.
Yeah, I remember saying, because a lot of people, even before Montgomery was available, which Montgomery is just, if he's available, you get him. I remember saying, give Bannister time. He'll grow into the role. He's new at this. And looking back, things picked up as soon as they changed him out of that role. So,
yep.
You're wrong. You win some, you lose some. I was wrong on that one.
Episode 93. If you guys want to go check out what Bruce said about, let's see what I put in the thing. Oh wow, I wrote a whole long thing. Most recent games, highs and lows, Bennington's 149th career victory. That's cool. It's not all smooth sailing. There's growing chatter about Drew Bannister's future with the team.
There you go.
It could all right. Adios.
And then we got an awesome coach instead. So that worked out pretty well.
We must have talked about the possibility of Nathan Walker stepping into a top 6 role.
Well, that did not happen.
Holy
I
shit.
forgot about that part.
Hold on there, folks.
It's on the description. So I have to go back and listen to that and see what it is. I mean, I love Nathan Walker, but
not at all.
All right.
I mean, I love the guy, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't go top 6. I mean, top 9, sure, but
if you think about it, though, that was last year, and last year, at the time that Drew Bannister was still the head coach, the only line that was good was the 4th line. It was Nathan Walker, Torchenko, and Radek Faksa.
What the fuck?
That WTF line that when we were playing Dallas and I saw Radek Faksa, I'm like, I missed that Walker, Torchenko, Faksa line.
Yep. So, and that kind of, missing Radek Faksa will bring us to another point that we're going to talk about is our lack of centers right now, as a lot of them are injured. So we'll kind of get into that. Bruce, let's dive into some of the most recent games. Not a whole lot of excitement to talk about as we're in the midst of a 4-game losing streak. And all the games that we're going to cover are part of that losing streak. So the last 3, with the first one being Tuesday, January 20th, we played away at the Winnipeg Jets. Blues lost 1-3. Hofer only faced 15 shots, but gave up 2 goals. Winnipeg's third goal was an empty netter. Jordan Kyrou gets our only goal of the game, his 9th of the season at the time. Any thoughts, or do you remember watching this Winnipeg Jets game?
I remember watching it and coming in thinking like Winnipeg's also having a very down year compared to expectations. We were in it the whole time. It was like the millisecond we pulled Hofer, they scored, but it was a 1-goal game until then. And like, there's not a lot to be happy with, but these games we're talking about, 25's finally coming on, it seems like. So at least there's that to be happy about.
I mean, I believe this is the game where it was the battle of the power play. I think it was we scored a power play goal and they scored 2, and then Montgomery said we didn't score. I think this was like the 2.
Yeah, they
scored.
The
freak one was like it was a 4-minute minor.
Goals.
Yeah.
Was this the first game after they moved Ott away from the major league team?
Might have been.
Because they moved him down to Springfield, and to my knowledge, he had a heavy hand in the power play, and the power play is now scored in like 3 straight games.
Mm-hmm.
They've also had a lot of misses. Don't get me wrong; they're not that improved, but it's just kind of.
Hey, small sample size. Hey, a guy moves away, and then you're immediately like, see, it was his fucking fault. Like, he goes away, and we start scoring. No, that game was pitiful. It was one of those things that you're going to look back on if we do, in fact, make a run. And, again, I won't hold my breath. But you look at that game, and you're like, you guys are both fighting for one of the last positions in the Central. And it's like, even we couldn't even beat them. And so it's kind of daunting. Because then you take that Winnipeg game, and you're like, fuck, we can't even beat them. And then you go to Dallas, which is, if in my mind, those are, the lesser of 2 evils would be Winnipeg. Now, don't quote me on that. We would have said differently last year, but you lose to Winnipeg, super shitty. Then you go to Dallas, and then to me, in my head, and this is just me being a psychotic fan, it's like, okay, we've got to play better. Like, they just lost to a team they definitely should have just dog walked. You go into Dallas. Sometimes the Blues play up to their opponents. That's what I thought was going to happen here. And honestly, the game wasn't so bad. It just, again, we came out on the losing end. I'm sure we're going to talk on it here in a second.
Considering it's Dallas and like them and Colorado and Minnesota are the 3 best teams in the league, I wasn't upset with losing to them by 1 with 1 minute left. Like, there was some, like, they played decently at least. Like, I kind of went in expecting a loss, so the fact they made a game of it was somewhat encouraging. I'm an optimistic person by nature, so those are usually my takeaways, other than that Edmonton game last weekend. But
well, we had no chance in that game because we had won 2 games right before that, and we can't win 3 in a row. So that was a guaranteed loss.
Yeah, I thought last year was weird that it took till the end of February to win 3 straight. Is this just going to be every year now?
We're consistently bad.
Yeah. The thing with this losing streak is, like I said, I'm a very optimistic person by nature. This whole season, I've been watching the wild card race, thinking, hey, the West is terrible. We're only 2 points out at one point or 4 points out at another point. And this losing streak is, I'm finally realizing, like, yeah, the playoffs I thought we had a shot at are really not happening unless something major changes.
I mean, it's quite a phenomenon to look at, like, the wild card like 2 weeks ago, and like we were being talked about as like one of the 6th worst team in the NHL. Well, we were still within 2 points of a playoff spot. I was like, we're in like, how does that even happen? How does that even like remain true? And then obviously the 4-game losing streak just puts salt in the wounds. It's like, if they played like they actually gave a F, this is a child podcast. We're going to make sure we keep the profanity to a level. But if they actually played like they gave a damn, I don't see them losing this many. Like, again, we talk about the talent. We see the roster up and down. It doesn't make sense. How does a team that has a decent amount of scorers on their roster continue night in, night out to just lose?
The frustrating thing is like you can see the potential there. You see, I mean, we talked about the power play that was like 0 for 15 on a stretch at a certain point, or like zone entries, or the fact we've had a million injuries this year. We could be in a playoff spot right now. We just Kyrou, Thomas are all having down years at the same time somehow. Because I love Robert Thomas. He's incredible, but he's not been played like himself for a lot of this year. Jordan Kyrou usually leads us in scoring. Is just now coming on. Justin Falk leads us in scoring somehow, which I would have loved to have seen the betting odds on that coming into the season. But
we'd be millionaires if we would have bet on it.
That's right.
Like, the potential's there. That's what's frustrating. Is like they shouldn't be as bad as they are.
Well, and then I feel like you kind of weigh this too, is like seeing how bad they are, and then you immediately go, like any other fan, you immediately compare this year to last year. Like, okay, like where were we like last year? Oh shit, we were in the same freaking position. And then you look at how last year ended up, and then that's what kind of keeps us coming back for more. It's like, is this it? Is this the time? Is this where we finally get our shit together? It's just like it's demoralizing to kind of look at game in and game out, night in and night out, because you know that the team is capable. And don't even get me started on the goaltending. It doesn't matter who the hell's in net. I miss Chris Mason. Fuck, throw his 60-year-old ass back in net. I mean, at this point, he could stop more pucks from Joel Hofer and Jordan Bennington, but that's a topic for another time. So it sucks.
Yeah. The frustrating thing is, like, will we have a game where the offense is incredible and puts up 4 goals, but the goaltending just can't stop anything. And then next game, Hofer or Binner will stand on their head and we lose 2-1 because the offense can't do anything. Like, the amount of times both of those have happened this year where we just can't have both units being good at once. It's really frustrating.
That's pretty much the most recent games. We touched on Winnipeg, but we lose 3-1. We only give up 15 shots. Hofer gives up 2, but we only score 1. We lose to Dallas. We only give up 19 shots. Bennington gives up 3, and we're only able to score 2. They get that last one late. And then you bring up when we can score, but then the goalie isn't great. And that's Saturday against LA when we lose 5-4 in a shootout, which it just went into overtime. So as soon as it goes into overtime, you can just mark it down as an L. But Hofer has to stop 28 shots in that game, but we're able to score 4. I mean, if we score 4 against Dallas and Winnipeg, we win those games.
Yeah. And like Hofer and Binner have both had some really bad stretches this year, but a lot of these goals are defense hanging them out to dry at times also. Like, you look at that last goal of that Dallas game, we win a face-off, have the puck surrounded, and somehow Robertson gets off a shot right in front of the goal with no defense to stop him.
I would just want to talk about that shitty poke check. That shitty poke check by Colton Parayko should be studied as probably the one of the worst defensive captures of all time. Like, that's gonna go down as probably the worst defensive 5 seconds of his life. And that dude is gonna be on the Canadian. He's gonna be on the Canadian Olympic team. Like, the poke check. If he's 7,000 feet tall, and you're reaching out to just give this little pussyfoot poke check. Like, what are we doing?
If he would use his size, he would be so threatening. If he would just start hitting people more and be more physical than he plays.
We got the Wish version of Chris Pronger.
I thought that was Eric Brewer, but you make a good point. But as far as terrible defensive captures, I don't know that anything will top the overtime game versus Toronto when all three people pinned someone against the wall and left John Tavares, of all people, wide open. I don't know that that's going to get beaten for terrible defensive moments.
I mean, do we need to talk about having 8 seconds with the puck against the boards at the end of last year?
Gosh.
Like that should have just been
Doing
pinned
it
there.
too.
For
We
8
keep
seconds.
thinking we found the dumbest defensive moment, and they keep doing it again.
It just was like that's what caused riots in the street in Toronto. If that would have been Toronto, if we would have been the ones to do it to Toronto, there would have been cars on fire and like the city of just flames. But I love the Blues through and through. I believe blue, but at the same time, like, geez, Louise, like, enough is enough. When do we stop seeing this? Like again, like, I think we all can sit there, watch a game for 60 minutes, and kind of depict what's going to happen or how the game's going to end, depending on what the first period shows you. Absolutely, it's like clockwork. It's embarrassing, but at the same time, like, I just.
At least with the Kings game, like, we lost, but it was entertaining to watch. Like, it was back and forth. They were pretty much in it the whole time. Shootouts are stressful, and getting that close and losing is frustrating. But I can at least say I had fun watching the game. Like, that's what they brought me to, is like, that's what I'm looking for out of it, is, at least I had fun.
Just want to watch a good hockey game.
Yeah.
I don't even care if the Blues lose anymore. I just want to watch a good hockey game.
Right. And that's a frustrating way to lose, is to push it all the way to a shootout. But, like, there was positives from that game. The offense was buzzing. Kyrou looked good. Dvorsky, I think, had a goal. Like,
yeah, Dvorsky
awesome
had
lately.
one, Shen had one, and Kyrou had 2.
Yeah. Dvorsky had another one in the shootout that was awesome. Because Jake and Kyrou decided to do whatever they did in the shootout. So Dvorsky scoring was huge.
I've been ignoring comments for now, so I got to get to some of them. Let's see here. Sam fact checked for us. Of course, Sam's here. Said that Ott went to Springfield on MLK Day, so that would have been Monday, or last Monday, not today, a week from today, and then got his first victory on Friday in comeback fashion. Theo Lindstein, I believe, scored the goal, and Sam can fact check that for me. We do have Kelsey joining us on YouTube. She's signed up for a future episode. Thanks for being here, Kelsey.
Nice.
Sam says one warning for bashing Joel Hofer. That's a warning for Dakota. All right. You get a verbal warning, then you get a yellow card, then you get a red card, and you're out for this episode.
I was taking it easy on him. Just wait. We're not even 15 minutes into this podcast. I'm ready to throttle him.
And then the next point I wanted to talk about actually kind of came from Justin Scott, but it kind of goes to Bruce, what you were saying about kind of just being a positive outlook is, you instead you talked about you enjoyed watching the LA game because it was back and forth. I don't know if you have words are hard. Have you ever been on moneypuck.com and looked at like the advanced stats on there, Bruce?
I have not.
So they have a thing where you can click on the actual game and it will go through and measure based on expected goals who is most likely to win that. If they play the game 1,000 times, who's going to win the most. So that Winnipeg game, we had a 74% chance of winning that game.
Of course we did.
The Dallas game, we had a 64% chance of winning that game. And then the LA game, being more back and forth, we had a 51% chance of winning that game. So the last 3 games, going to your point of being kind of positive outlook and enjoying watching the hockey, and then Justin's input of looking great at 5-on-5 is, yeah, we actually should have probably won the last 3 games and not lost at least the last 3.
Yeah, and with Winnipeg, normally when you lose to them, you can blame it on, Hellebuck. But no, it was Eric Comrie this time, and we still could only get 1 goal in.
Terrible.
Like, what are you going to do at this point?
I'm sorry. I'm laughing at St. Louis Blues hockey memes. See, Mom, I told you these guys hate me. They never ask me to come on. And then he said,
Shout out to them. They have a cool page.
oh, okay. I thought he was talking about me. He says, Jacob's mom texts me daily. And then follows up with no idea who Jacob is.
That's great.
So whoever's running that account is maybe he's struggling today. It's Brad in the basement. He's struggling tonight. All right. So looking, Bruce, with your kind of glass half full positive mindset, would you rather see a game like any of these last three where, according to advanced stats and according to expected goals, the Blues are expected to win, but then just underperform somehow and lose? Or would you rather just see us get blown out of the water and lose from the beginning?
I'd at least, the close games, I can fool myself and convince myself we have a shot that they're not going to blow it in some dumb way. Last Saturday or whenever it was when we played Edmonton and it was 4-0 at some point in early second or early third, that just, there's nothing fun for me with that. I don't have a good takeaway there. So, if we're playing well and scoring like that LA game, it's at least enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, I guess it's just good hockey. You could just kind of almost separate the fandom and just be like, I don't even care who wins. I'm just happy to be watching hockey, which I think I said that already.
Yeah. When Edmonton is destroying us, or when the Preds beat us, however bad they did in early December.
Oh, yep.
I'll still watch it to the end, but it's a struggle to get through sometimes.
All right. Well, that's the most recent games. Like I mentioned earlier, Blues are on a 4-game losing streak. We have lost 8 games, 8 away games in a row as well. So in a weird kind of twist of things, because I feel like in the past, the Blues have struggled at home and played better away. We are now playing better at home and struggling at away. So
yeah, because of course.
Yeah. We'll see how that picks up. We mentioned Jordan Kyrou, and I wrote down some stats for him because as of right now, Kyrou has played in 42 games. He has 11 goals, 13 assists for 24 points. He's at a -7 rating, which isn't terrible because everyone on the Blues is at a minus rating. So
yeah,
you can't really look at that and say that that's a Jordan Kyrou problem.
yeah.
The issue would be 24 points in 42 games. If he's at 42 games, I'm expecting him around 40 points would be, or probably like 35 to 40. You did mention that Kyrou has come on recently. He had 2 goals. Actually, he's got 3 goals in the last 3 games. So we are seeing some more movement from Kyrou. What have you liked over the past couple of games?
Like you mentioned, 2 goals against LA, 1 against Winnipeg. It just seems like we're seeing the version of him that we're used to seeing, kind of. He usually leads us in scoring every year. He hasn't been that goal scorer that he usually is this year. I can't explain why, but it's just been nice seeing him hopefully come on. Maybe he catches some momentum and goes on a hot streak, but just seeing him put pucks on net, seeing him have that energy, even other than scoring, he was buzzing. He was making some good passes and plays on the puck in that LA game. So hopefully he can keep that momentum going, but it took this long to get the version of him we're used to seeing. So
yeah, I specifically enjoyed his goal, the wraparound that he scored in the LA game, because it really wasn't anything spectacular. It was just he gained the zone with his speed and he skated around, and Darcy Kemper was still on the other post by the time Kyrou had put it in. So he didn't have a chance. So yeah, just that's kind of what we're looking for from Jordan Kyrou. And it's crazy that I think I posted like, oh, that's what we've been looking for, but unfortunately it happens 1 every 10 games. So I guess we just need that consistency.
And to be fair with the scoring, he was out for a while. So who knows what happens if he plays those games. Maybe not that different of a pace, but because at one time we had him out and Walker and Torpo and like 6 people out at once right after Thanksgiving. So like if who knows where we are if the injury bug didn't just despise us this season.
All right. I do think at the very early parts of the season, we were actually pretty lucky when it came to not being hurt. And I'm talking like maybe first 10 to 15 games.
Yeah.
But we weren't playing well then. And then with all the injuries since then, yeah, it's just been hard to find a rhythm. Speaking of injuries, like right now, we're still out Holloway. I know he's technically been healthy scratched, but he played in the Edmonton game and then he has not played since. So they obviously brought him back too soon. Otherwise, so I'm still considering him injured. Oscar Sundquist is still out, Pia Suter is still out, and Robert Thomas are still out. Hopefully, those last 3 return at some point this week, but you might just scratch them. You might just say, you know what, just take off until the Olympic break and come back at the end of February and be 100%.
Yeah, and P.U. Suter is not a name you hear come up, but man, that's helpful when he's back in the lineup. He's been a really solid addition this year on that second, third line center spot. So be nice to get him back. Nice to get Holloway back if he can stay healthy, which has been a struggle since that Pittsburgh injury at the end of last season. But it's a lot at once. We were lucky with injuries earlier in the season, but it's caught up to us at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think some of the injuries just have been freak accidents, too. It's just like, it's one thing to get the injury bug, and then also we're just been hitting like the plague of freak injuries. Like some of the things I think, did Holloway get injured in practice? He got a shoulder injury in practice.
Holloway got injured in practice. Torpo burned himself on the leg somehow.
Yeah.
The internet seems to think that was a turkey deep frying accident from what I've read. But
and then you got Sonny with the skate. I mean, like that just, I think that would be freak. I know like it was just a bang play and Connor McDavid was just trying to dry hump him, but like that was kind of freak.
That was maybe a terrible joke there.
Bukestad's another one. He was out for a little while too.
Mm-hmm.
Fabry, I think, is out or was out. I don't know. He hasn't done much since being back, but
I wish they wouldn't just healthy scratch him, and maybe I'm too much of a biased fan here, but I've really enjoyed watching him play since being back. I think his skating ability has been an added speed. I think the way he possesses a puck is nice. Is he gonna go out there and score you 30 goals? No, but I do think he plays that 200-foot game that we desperately need on our roster. Like he may not win the award battles as much as he should, but he's constantly skating hard and will always back check and will always be the first guy up. And hey, he's turning into a secondary Nathan Walker. Nathan Walker.
What's on your mind?
Don't need that.
Something with kangaroos and naked Walker. I don't know. Like,
if you're having a season like Colorado, healthy scratch Fabry. But when you're having this type of season and no one's really playing up to their best, other than like Dvorsky and Snuggerud have been awesome. Snuggerud, another one that was out for a while, by the way. Mm-hmm. I don't really see the healthy scratching Fabry as consistently as they have. I'm with you. It's been fun having him back. It's not a super impactful piece, but solid fourth line guy.
I got a question for you right before we go into this question that I know Jacob's probably teeing up. Do you think they signed Fabry?
I don't know. I wouldn't hate it if they did. I mean,
you just were dogging him.
Short deal.
How are you going to jump on a bandwagon and then off and then back on one?
I think it depends on how well the AHL team is not playing well. They're worse than we are. But we've seen Stenberg and how good he can be. At this point, I would say he's a shoe-in for a roster spot next season.
He's been awesome.
Jonathan Bergeron has been pretty good. He's supposed to be playing on the first line tomorrow.
He's been way better than I thought he was going to be. Like, I kind of shrugged when I saw they brought him in, but he's been awesome.
Right. So you have him that probably needs a roster spot. Assuming everyone gets healthy, You also have Matthew Joseph, who I think has been one of the more consistent as far as energy players, not
Yeah.
necessarily scoring, but his energy is consistent. And if that's an issue for this team, you need him back. So you sign him. So I think Fabry might just run into he's not great. I like having him around, but we have these young guys that Koskamaki's going to push. Jacob Stansel might push for a spot. Peckersick might try to get a spot. So
yeah. Carbonell will be here at some point.
yeah.
If we draft Stenberg's brother, does he need time to develop, or will he make the roster out of camp?
Oh, that's hard. I can see it going either way.
With him playing in the SHL, I would assume he's going to make the roster.
I mean, imagine that. Imagine him and his brother on the line. Holy fuck.
Oh, yeah. I am interested. I mentioned Carbonell. I'm really excited to see his training camp next year. If he makes it up or if they start him in Springfield again next year. So, these young guys are really exciting. Like, the Blues and Cardinals are both, like, having seasons or had a season that doesn't meet expectations. The difference is the Blues have Dvorsky, Snuggerud, Stenberg, Carbonell's coming up. I just don't have that type of faith in the Cardinals' future where I look at the Blues, I'm like, man, in 3 or 4 years, this is going to be such a fun team when these guys are all hitting their stride at the same time.
Baseball's just so hard to project as far as professionals. Like you pick the number 1 pick and that guy's not on your team for 4 years. Like in baseball, you get the number 1 pick now, that guy's playing every day on your top line. Like, Schaefer is kicking ass this year with New York. So
Schaefer, Celebrini before him.
Right. Yeah. Celebrini's an MVP candidate this year.
I'm not his biggest fan, but Bedard played immediately.
Right.
That guy
kind of all they have, but he played immediately.
Some comments to get to, and then I have to tell you about places to go buy things. My favorite comment, where did Justin's comment go here? When you were talking about the naked walker, Justin says, Dakota, this is a family show.
That's amazing.
It slipped, damn it, it slipped.
We do have a couple comments on here about potential picks for what we do if we have a high draft, which we are going to get into in the Teach Me How to Doug section. Sam's looking at Stenberg if we have a high pick. I believe this one, Justin is talking about Otto Stenberg getting a roster spot next year. And agreeing that, it might just be Fabry as the odd man out. He did Justin brought up Carbonell, which Bruce talked about a couple times. Carbonell is playing in the juniors right now. So my guess is next year he would start in the AHL because he's got to play against some men first.
Yeah.
And then probably be one of the first people called up when we run into 75 injuries again.
Yeah, like Dvorsky last year.
Yep. Yeah, he's going to be like Dvorsky last year, kind of like Otto Stenberg this year of, hey, you're going down to the AHL. You're going to play at least the first 10 to 15 games down there, and then when we need you, we'll bring you up.
Yeah. Which is normally what they do. Snuggie came straight from college and never played AHL, but that's the only one I can remember like that in recent memory.
Yep. So he also went back to college that last year when he was back to college, and the expectation that he wasn't going to go back to college. Everyone thought he was going to go sign his contract, go play in the AHL, but
there was a lot of people I was seeing that were afraid he wasn't going to sign with us because he went back to college another year.
Yep.
So, but
all right. Well, let me tell you guys about
NCAA Division Championship.
Yeah.
That did not go well for him. Their best chance was when he was on that line with Logan Cooley and Matthew Nyes. Like that team was that line was just amazing.
Stacked.
It's cold outside. There's snow everywhere. You might hardly be able to drive. I've decided my dog food wasn't going to get delivered and we were out of food. So I'm like, I got to go get dog food for these dogs. And so I tried to leave. Unfortunately, like where I park is in an alley So I had to take my 2-wheel drive Ford Fusion and somehow get out of my alley. And I got stuck a little bit. I had to go back and forth like 20 times in order to get myself unstuck. And then I was able to boot scoot and boogie out of the alley. So we made it. But one thing that would have helped me in that situation is a nice cup of hot coffee, specifically on Highway 143 and Troxler Way in Highland. That's the one I would go to. Or Vandalia Street and Indiana Avenue in Collinsville. Or you can go to any of the other 30 locations in the greater St. Louis area. And that would be to see some amazing people, have some amazing drinks, and get it amazingly fast from Scooter's Coffee. So go check them out. Also, check out Hughes Custom Design. They are a family-owned and run small business that is operated out of Maryville, Illinois. They specialize in laser-cut, hand-painted signs, and they have options that are typically ready upon request and can complete almost any request for a custom job. So while you're sitting inside doing nothing because you're snowed in, go buy things on Facebook. I mean, why would you not? Support local business.
For sure.
And then lastly, check out Imprint Labs. I'm not going to read their thing because it's too long. Cool metal signs. Back when the St. Louis Blues were good. This was fun. First Stanley Cup championship in franchise history.
Woohoo.
Super cool hats. Super cool. I mean, my slogan for them is if you have shit and you want it on shit, they're your people. If you want it on wood, go to Hughes Custom Design. If you want it on anything else, go to them. We just donated some t-shirts to a fund. It's called the Greg Holthouse Memorial Fund, but they do a bowling fundraiser every year. So we donated some Blues Fan Forum shirts for them to give out through that. But Imprint Labs is the one who made them. The Greg Holthouse Memorial Fund is actually pretty cool. So I'll tell you guys about that a little bit. One of my brothers, Zach, Greg Holthouse was his age. And when he was, I believe, a freshman in college, he passed away due to, I don't know the technical term for it, but he had an enlarged heart. And he passed away from that. So now his family started the Greg Holthouse Memorial Fund, and they provide screenings for hearts all the time. I can't even think of the number, but they've probably donated close to 100 AEDs to different parks, schools, whatever it is. So they're really, big advocates for. Nobody knew that Greg had this condition, and so that's why he was just visiting a friend at Mizzou and just happened to pass away in the dorm room. So they're trying to make sure that what happened to Greg doesn't happen to other people, and they're doing a really, really good job at it. So if you don't want to support any of our people here, support the Greg Holthouse Memorial Fund. They also do, I believe, a scholarship for somebody from Highland. So they got a lot of things that they're helping people with.
That's awesome.
All right. Let's go straight to the Teach Me How to Doug section, because we've had a lot of people commenting about it. And I think people are going to be really excited to hear your answer, Bruce. And I'm excited to hear your answer. But first we have to play our super cool music because we're high tech here. And so that's what we're going to do. All the time in my classroom, and my kids hate it, and I think it's hilarious.
Let's see if you got what it takes to run the Blues. Teach me how to Doug. Teach me how to Doug.
That's awesome.
Cap space tight, but the roster's got a bug. So show us what you got. Teach me how to Doug. Sign them, trade them, send them down to the A. Build a cup team like it's Judgment Day. You got picks, you got cash. Can you make a splash or crash? Better know your lines and match, because fans don't want to see a playoff collapse. Teach me how to Doug.
I always pause it right there. I don't even know how long it goes. It might go farther. Okay.
That is awesome.
Yeah. ChatGPT created the lyrics for me. I just typed in exactly kind of what we do for this segment, and it made it for me. And then I used another one to put the music with it. So
There you go.
Teach Me How to Doug. You're going to get to act like you are Doug Armstrong in a little scenario I've teed up for you here. Here's your scenario. You are now the recipient of the number 1 pick in the coming up NHL draft. Are you taking Gavin McKenna, Ivar Stenberg, Or are you going with the defenseman Keaton Verhoff?
I love the idea of having a McKenna or a having both Stenberg brothers would be amazing. My gut says defense is a much bigger need. Because you look at the future on offense, Dvorsky and Snuggerud are already killing it. Otto will be up next year. Carbonneau's coming. He's going to be awesome. What's the future look like on defense? We locked down Broberg long term, but Falk is old. Fowler's old. Parayko will be old soon if he's not already. That one's kind of borderline, I think. But so I lean towards Verhoff, but the other two are flashier and more exciting for me to think about.
Dakota, what's your answer for this?
I think it's Ivar Stenberg. Has to be, right?
I would love that. That'd be so much fun.
We could kind of formulate our own Kachuk brothers. We couldn't get them here, so fuck it. We'll just make them Stenbergs.
We're gonna grab the brothers from Sweden instead.
Yeah.
Sweden, St. Louis, that's like the same thing.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun. I think, too, it would kind of help develop both of them at the same time, considering, they're brothers. So what better to have than somebody that you grew up with? And also, just built-in chemistry, right? That's something that, unless I'm dead wrong, I'm sure we can snip this later and I can shove my foot in my mouth. But how cool would that be just to have a guy like that, built-in chemistry? That would be crazy to see, but who knows?
So my thought process on this is there's three different reasons for taking each of these. McKenna is supposed to be a generational talent, like Bedard, like Celebrini. The way that people talked about McKenna were the same way that they talked about Celebrini and the same way that they talked about Connor Bedard. And look how those two are doing right now. They're doing pretty good. So that's why McKenna has always been the number one pick. People had him sharpied into the number one pick until he went to Penn State this year, and he's not putting up the numbers he was in juniors. But now, instead of playing against people his age, he's a freshman playing against potentially super seniors sometimes. So he's playing up against some bigger people at this point. The Stenberg one is just, you're still getting a good player, but technically most people think McKenna is going to end up being the better NHLer. But does Stenberg give you longevity in the fact that if he's here and his brother's here, you're almost guaranteed to have him for his whole career unless you don't want him. Like I know, we lost Jaden Schwartz, we lost Tarasenko, we lost Alex Pietrangelo. But if you have Ivar and Otto here and you can just sign them both, they're probably not going to leave. You can have them for their whole careers.
Oh yeah.
But then going to Bruce's point, our forwards and our forward lines, wingers and centers, looks pretty strong. So do you go for maybe the third best prospect, but the positional need of a right shot defenseman that at whatever age he is, probably 18-ish, he's already 6'4".
Jeez.
So so the number one pick should be an easy answer. Every single year, it's typically an easy, this is who we're taking. But if the Blues were to get it, I do think it would be hard.
I think it comes down to just draft philosophy. Do you want the best player available, or do you want what fills your team's need the most? If you want the best player, it's one of the forwards. If you want to fill the biggest need for your team, it's Verhoff.
I think a lot can be argued too to Mayhew's point too. Like they always said when we got him for the Zach Bolduc trade, it was like give him time. Like young defensemen need time to develop. Okay, like what's our leash there? And so like if we drafted an 18-year-old kid in a couple of years, when's the next time we're gonna see him?
That's true.
Years from now, so it's like okay, we're not gonna fill it now. It would be fucking blasphemy if we got an 18-year-old defenseman and he started on the second line D a year from now. Like, let's pump the brakes there. Like, we're not going to see this guy for another 3-4 years.
For sure.
Right. So, like, if we're going to draft somebody that we think can have I would say, an integral part of pushing us towards not a retool, but just kind of like a reshuffle, then maybe we go and get a Gavin McKenna, which I don't think we're really going to get. I think Ivar would be a better suitable candidate for the Blues. Like I said, just having those two brothers on the same roster, I feel like you can honestly kind of structure your team around that. And more often than not, those guys, if you sign them together and sign them to deals that are fairly team friendly, it opens up your cap space.
Yeah. And to the Mayu point, again, this is just me being the optimist, maybe. I do think I still have faith he can be what they thought he was at some point. Like, he had played, 9 games when he came here? Like, I don't know what that timetable is. Defensemen do tend to take longer to develop, to your point, but I'd like to think we can still get a solid defenseman version of Mayu, which would help out a lot going forward because he's pretty young. So
I was gonna say, I think he's still 22, is my guess.
yeah.
So
And wasn't he a first round draft pick?
I don't remember.
He was last pick of or like 30th, maybe somewhere around there. He was supposed to go higher. His talent profile had him as a higher draft pick, but he had some off the ice issues to where he actually came out and said, "Do not draft me in the first round." And the Montreal Canadiens were like, we'll take him at 30. That's close enough to the second round, I guess. So yeah, he had that going for him. As far as taking the best player available, I think based on, recency bias and looking at how McKenna is doing at Penn State and how Stenberg is doing in Sweden, the best player available right now is Ivar Stenberg.
It is.
Again, I think the highest potential, I believe, is still McKenna. But if you want a player that you might plug into your top 6 at winger off the hop, it's Stenberg.
Yeah. And that would be awesome. I would love it if they got him.
All right.
I've never really been a fan of the concept of tanking and trying to lose, but if we happen to get that high of a pick anyway, like, I'd love that. I'd love to have Ivar.
We're not going to tank.
No, I know, but I just, I hear top picks are going for that, and my mind goes, I don't like tanking. So that's just
this is where Columbus usually goes and onto the, during that off season or off break between the Olympics or the All-Star game. They're like, how can we get that number 1 draft lottery? Like, okay, we have to start shitting the bed now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do whenever I play franchise mode on NHL. If I'm not going to make the playoffs, I'm just like, sell everybody, sell them, and let's get a high draft pick.
And if they do sneak into the playoffs, they're going to run into a buzzsaw that is Colorado. But you get these young guys playoff experience, which is valuable developmentally, even if the series is going to look terrible because Colorado is having a freakish season, unfortunately. But it's it's
nuts. Looking at some of the thoughts online. First off, Justin says that NHL would never give St. Louis the number 1 pick. We've had it once, and we
drafted Eric Johnson.
Yeah, and it was like, that wasn't a terrible pick because he did have a good NHL career, but he didn't have the career of a number 1 that you would.
Jonathan Toews went a few picks later, I think.
Yeah,
so.
He was pick 3, I believe.
Eric Johnson will go in history as the worst number 1 pick by the St. Louis Blues. You sugarcoated your answer too much. I was ready for you just to go fire hardcore, and you didn't.
But
do
that's
that. No,
he wasn't like a Nail Yakupov. Like, that guy played 3 NHL seasons, and then for some reason the Blues decided to give him a try at some point. But he was the number 1 pick that epically failed. At least Eric Johnson had a good NHL career for him. He just didn't have it to the level of I have the number 1 pick, so I should be getting Sidney Crosby type production or something like that.
It's also frustrating from a Blues perspective. A majority of Eric Johnson's solid career was for another team in Colorado. So,
right.
And we got Shattenkirk into that, so I'm not complaining too much, but that just doesn't
look
help
at
that
Eric.
pick better.
look at Eric Johnson's D partners over the course of his lifetime with the St. Louis Blues: Roman Polak and Eric Brewer. Like,
Forgot about
wow,
Roman Polak.
fucking
That's a football.
Blues, fucking legends. Like,
The best thing
that guy
Roman
was-
Polak did for us was get traded for Carl Gunnarsson.
I mean,
I
was just
forgot
like, he-
Roman Polak existed until you said that name. That's such a fun
he was
goal.
a great draft pick, but we just set him up to fail. Like, no,
Yeah.
no, like I just like I feel for the guy, but like that's who we decided that we were in the war room and we're like, that's our guy. And then like
Yeah.
you said, Jonathan Tays gets picked a couple picks later, and you're just like, yeah, we fucked up. But you
I
can't say
forgot
that
he
to
was
people.
back this season until we played Winnipeg, and I saw him on my screen, by the way.
Sam saying Stenberg brothers would be lethal. That would be, again, just really cool of just having Ivar and Otto. Greg comments and says that he does not believe if Gavin McKenna is a generational type player that he should be struggling in the NCAA. If he's as good as he is supposed to be, then it doesn't really matter. So we'll see. Again, I think that's kind of part of what's pushing Gavin McKenna down and elevating Stenberg is playing well against adults. McKenna is struggling against young adults.
Yeah.
Justin made a good comment. If we go off of Justin's old comment of the Blues will never get the number 1 pick, the way the NHL can screw us is by giving us the 4 pick. If somehow we end up in the 1, 2, or 3 spot and we bump down to the 4, I'm going to be livid because I'm sure there's a good prospect there, but you're really looking for one of these big 3. You're looking for McKenna, Stenberg, or Fairhoff. So we'll see. Greg was also on saying that we don't need a defenseman because he believes Jiricek will be in the NHL next year, which I guess means Parayko will most likely be Falk. He's a right shot defenseman, so it's either Parayko, Falk, or Mayu is going to be gone somewhere. But I don't expect Mayu. We re-signed him. I wouldn't be surprised if Falk is gone before the end of this season. Maybe, in a couple weeks.
Well, Tucker's been getting a ton of playing time this year, too. Is there any chance he's not back, I ask, hopefully?
I love how you put that. Oh my god!
Fun to watch. Like, he hits.
I love
he
Tucker.
gets in fights. He's just not super helpful sometimes.
The one thing I like about Tucker and I would just say our announcers, because apparently saying Curbs and Vitali is like a trigger word for some people. The fan base of St. Louis is very upset that the Blues are losing hockey, but I think they hate our announcers more. They hate Curbs and Vitali.
I spend most of my time watching games on the Blues Reddit game thread, and Blues Reddit hates Curbs and Joey.
They rip them apart.
I mean, I think
Reddit hates everything. To be fair, but
yeah, that's true.
If we were losing and John Kelly was announcing, I think it would be a little more like we could swallow a little bit better. The fact that Curbs and Vitali, Curbs is talking about other bullshit, Vitali's talking about how he wants to stroke off McDavid here or Nathan McKinnon there. It's like, this is a Blues broadcast, my guy. Let's talk about, even when TJ Oshie was on the broadcast, he was more of a homer than Vitali. It's like, come on, get it together. What were you saying, Jacob?
I was going to say, they point out that every time Tucker gets the puck at the point in the offensive zone, he is putting it on net. And they're like, every time he gets the puck, he puts it on. I agree. That is just something it's easy to plan for. You don't have to try to make the decision. Am I going to the front of the net or am I going to the boards because he's going to wrap it around or whatever? So it's when that puck maybe goes to Matt Kessel, who's his D partner, and Kessel's going point to point and it's going to Tucker. As soon as Tucker gets it, he's putting it on net. And so there's at least you can get that net front presence and you're prepared for it. So I just kind of wonder if we have that anticipation for Tucker, why can't we figure that out with everybody else? Why can't we have a designated, hey, we're going point to point and then we're going to put it on net and let's just see what happens.
And I'll give Pucks credit for that. He puts pucks on net. Like you said, we need more of that from our defensemen. What frustrates me is the penalties he takes and the amount of times a goal gets scored, and I'm like, Tucker, that was your guy. What happened here? Like, it's so I can't figure out what to do with him or what I think of him at the moment.
Mm-hmm. Well, at this
You make
point,
a good point though.
if Lindstein is ready, Tucker's the out man there, and if Jiricek is ready, I would assume Falk is probably going to be traded. It's the highest trade capital he'd be worth since we brought him in from Carolina. And really, we brought him in for Carolina for nothing. We brought him in. We traded him Joel Edmondson and some first round pick that we made that never played in the NHL. So I can't even remember what the guy's name was, but we traded him to Carolina, and I think he's playing in Europe somewhere.
Does Falk have a no trade? I don't remember.
15 teams. I think 15 teams he can go to. He's got to submit he submitted his list of you can trade me to these 15 teams.
Okay. Because I lost track of who does and doesn't have a no trade at this point. So
yeah,
I know Kyrou just had one case, but
yeah, him and Shen are both on the 15 team list, or they submit their teams. Thomas and Kyrou, I know, are just full no trade. So if any sort of trade movement involving them, they would have to agree to.
And Thomas likely was never even getting traded anyway. That's kind of their guy. So
right.
Kyrou, I can kind of see if he didn't have the clause, but he does. So
yeah, I mean, if you're Jordan Kyrou, you might be ready to get out of town with how much. I mean, I know Blues professional sports players anywhere are supposed to block the outside noise and not read what's online, and I'm pretty sure most of them do a pretty good job. But if I was Jordan Kyrou and I read what the fans are saying, I'd be like, trade me wherever the hell you want. I'll go.
yeah.
Box rock.
Hey, he survived the fans hating him and blaming him for Chief getting fired. This isn't as bad as the storm he was getting then.
That's fair.
He survived because he cried like a bitch. Oh, sorry, I did that. Whoops, that slipped. No, that guy's the first on the list. I honestly think, I think Colton Parayko. I'm sorry if you hear like a lot of noise. I live on a hill, and I got an F-150 that's struggling to get up the hill over here. So that's the background noise. I'm watching and listening to this dude struggle. But I do think that Colton Parayko, Jesus, my guy. I think that Colton Parayko, I kind of want to see what we can get for him, honestly. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I think Falk has the highest potential, but like, test the waters with Parayko and see what we can do with both, honestly.
Yeah, I think Falk's the most likely to get traded because he's playing so much better than they thought he would and scoring more than they expected. Parayko would be interesting because you've got Broberg locked long-term now. You know who your future number one defenseman is. This time last year, I would have been hesitant to trade Parayko because he's your number one. You don't know who's next. The Broberg extension kind of makes Parayko a bit more tradable to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was so happy with that extension, by the way.
Yeah, it's
I just want him to stay healthy.
I wrote this down too, so we can kind of move on to potential trades, which is we're kind of there already. So keep in mind with the Olympic break coming, during that Olympic break, teams are not allowed to move players. All right. So Otto Stenberg was sent down today, primarily because they want him to play in the AHL during that Olympic break. The AHL will still be playing games. They're not taking a break. In order to do that, he could not have played 16 of our last 20 games before the freeze. And so I didn't even count it, but I'm going to assume, do we have 4 games left until the 4th?
I know we've got Florida Thursday night because I'm going to that one.
We have 5 games, so they could have kept him up one more game and then sent him down, but who cares? So he had to. Well, maybe he was on the roster for 80 days. That could have been too. I don't know. So on February 4th, the freeze goes into effect. No players can move. Waivers is still active. So if you want to send somebody down, you still could send somebody down. But if it's after that February 4th, then they don't restart or report to their team till after the Olympics. So waivers are still there. So like if Pittsburgh wanted to send somebody down through their AHL, well, actually, let's go Buffalo. Let's say Buffalo is like, you know what? We're tired of carrying 3 goalies. We're going to send Colton Ellis down. The Blues could then reacquire Colton Ellis, but he can't report to the team until after the Olympics because of the freeze. So the paperwork will be done for that, but he still can't go.
Interesting.
After the Olympics are over, we only have, I believe, 2 weeks until the trade deadline. So a lot of people are kind of seeing that February 4th, the beginning of the freeze, as our, soft trade deadline of we're going to move players here. I don't know if you're Doug Armstrong, maybe you're still thinking, with the West being so bad and however many, we've always been, really close to getting the number 1 overall pick, but we've also been close to getting into the playoffs. Let's see.
Playoffs.
Playoffs. So what do we got? 8 points. We're 8 points out of a playoff spot right now. So like that's not awful. 52 games in. So I don't know. Maybe he waits until let's see if we can do the restart of the Four Nations magic. Maybe Jordan Binnington plays well, and then we come back. We're then healthy because Robert Thomas would have had time off, Holloway time off. All these guys had time off. We also have a pretty decent amount of people playing between Parayko, Binnington, Dvorsky will actually be playing in the Olympics. Broberg. So Pia Suter is playing, assuming he'll be healthy. So there's still a lot of people that are going to be playing, people who can get healthy, and maybe we get that kick in. So we'll see.
Yeah.
What happens? Bruce, do you have any thoughts or ideas or anything crazy that you think will happen either on that February 4th deadline or come trade deadline in March?
I'm interested to see what Armstrong's approach is. We're basically having the same season we did last year up to this point. We finally started turning it on right after Four Nations, and Armstrong stood pat. Then we won 12 games in a row, which I don't think you can count on again. So is he going to stand pat in the same spot again, or is he going to make some trades? Deal a Justin Falk, which I think would be the first thing. Dakota mentioned Parayko. I think you'd get a nice return there. So just kind of where he's coming at it from is what I'm interested in looking at compared to last year.
Yeah. Where do you think Shen is on your list? You kind of mentioned that Falk would be most likely the first to go, and I agree with that. If we're selling anyone, I think Falk is the easy first choice. Where would you put Shen on your list?
The no trade complicates it. Then there's 15 teams he can go to, but that still is 17 teams that you can't trade with. So I think they'll look to trade him. Armstrong's gonna explore every option, but the guys that are easier to trade will probably go first.
Mm-hmm.
Which now that I say that, Falk also has the 15 teams, but he's playing way better than we expected. So you got to cash in on that if you can.
Mm-hmm. I was just thinking that 15 seems like a weird number. Like, why is it 15? Like, why would you not, I don't know, do 16? So then it's right at half. And I think I convinced myself that the reason that they did 15 is because if you're trading these people, they're probably being traded to playoff teams, which means you then have 16 options of people to trade them. But then maybe you're like, well, we're going to be one of the playoff teams. So we're only going to have 15 options to trade them. But then if you're trading any of these people to a playoff team, why would you not just keep them on your playoff team?
Someone in the comments mentioned Matthew Joseph as a possible trade option. I like the sound of that. But like you said, he's been one of your top energy guys too. Like you need those fourth line energy identity line guys sometimes, those grinder types. So, like, if you could get something good for him, I'd look at that, but I don't think that'll be their top option.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
an
honestly,
interesting thought, though.
yeah, that might be the easiest of the trades, just because there's no trade protection on Joseph, and this is the last year of his contract, so a team is just buying him for the playoff run.
What's the interest going to be, though, in a Matthew Joseph?
Right, it's going to be they're buying him to either be a depth piece or like a fourth line player, and so if you trade Joseph, you're getting a 4th round pick in return, a 5th round pick. Maybe a pick that you then use to package for something else later. I don't know. You're not getting anything above a 3rd.
Yeah. So that's when you just have to say what's more important, having an extra 3rd round pick or having that energy guy, that locker room guy that Matthew Joseph has been all year, that they see the value in, or he wouldn't still be here. So, and I can't answer that for them, but I'm interested to see what that answer is.
Oh, here's an interesting one. Justin is throwing out Jake Neighbors as trade bait. I think the only way you ever do that is if you can somehow like up tier. Like, you don't trade Jake Neighbors for a player that is just going to do the same thing that Jake Neighbors does.
Yeah.
I almost feel like if you trade Jake Neighbors, it's a package of some sort. Maybe you trade Falk and Neighbors for a higher profile forward or a higher profile defenseman. But Neighbors does have the kind of playoff, type of player. You can see Neighbors being similar to like a Sam Bennett for Florida.
He's who you'd get the most for of all the guys we've talked about, but I just don't love the idea of parting ways with him. I think he's like, we talk about all these young guys in this future core. They're going to need a veteran around too. You can't have an entire team that's all in their 2nd, 3rd, 4th years. I look to Jake to maybe be the next captain when Schenner's gone, if it's not Thomas. Or I think Jake can be that veteran of this next wave coming up. So I don't know that they're going to love the idea of trading him.
Mm-hmm. Dakota, didn't you say something either last week or 2 weeks ago about Jake Neighbors being a future captain?
I think he plays with the right attitude. I think that, yes, ideally it would be Thomas, but if you had to think long term, then
it's
Jake
one of
Neighbors,
those two.
Jake Neighbors essentially is kind of the guy that you see as like a blue collar hockey St. Louis Blues guy. Like, I don't see him wearing anything other than a blue note in his career, and maybe that's just me being a wishful thinker, but he plays the right way. He's a very team first guy. I see a lot of him and I see a lot of Braden Shin in him. I think he leads selflessly. That being just, I think he's soft spoken because he's still young, but also just the way he sticks up for his teammates. It doesn't matter if he's the one getting just bodied every day or vice versa. I think he has what it takes to be a captain. But if the Blues go crazy, he would be the guy that would be in talks because I think his trade value is through the roof.
Yeah. I would be interested in seeing the return you'd get. I'm not interested in parting ways with Jake, but I am curious. The thought hadn't crossed my mind, so now that comment came up, I'm like, oh, what could they get? But probably not going to be worth it.
All right. It is definitely going to be interesting. There's already been a couple of big moves that we talked about last episode, but between Quinn Hughes moving out of Minnesota, there was another one. What was the other big trade that's already
was it Rasmussen to Vegas?
Yeah, Rasmussen to Vegas. So a couple big names on off the board, setting the market for. Rasmussen and Falk are a very similar. Falk is a poor man's Rasmussen. But you can once you see that Rasmussen package, you can kind of look at that and be like, all right, I have a general idea now of what we're going to get for Falk. It's going to be a little less than what Calgary was able to get for Rasmussen. So
yeah, it's a bit of a calmer trade deadline than last year, just because we don't have the Rantanen drama we had last year, where he gets traded, then gets traded again.
Right.
But yeah, that Quinn Hughes trade was wild. I was not happy to see he was coming to the Central Division by any means. but they got a good return for him. So
Yeah, it's also hilarious that you said that the Quinn Hughes trade was wild because he went to the Wild.
didn't even do that on purpose, but that's awesome. I remember reading that and thinking, oh crap, he's in our division now. That didn't go well for me. I was hoping he'd get traded to the East, maybe with his brothers, so we'd have to play him less. Now we have to play him more.
There's still a chance. They have not signed him to an extension. They do still have Quinn Hughes for this year and next year.
They could do the Rantanen thing and trade him again at the same deadline. They won't, but they could.
Well, that's why I said when that first trade came through, I talked about it on here that it's a win-win for the Wild.
Oh,
You
yeah.
at minimum get Quinn Hughes for this playoff run. And if it doesn't work, maybe you go win a Stanley Cup, who knows? But if he doesn't re-sign and shows no indication of re-signing, then you trade him somewhere else and get most of your package back. You're going to get a little less back because instead of having that year and a half, he only has that 1 year. But if you can do a sign and trade, like if he's like, oh, nope, I'm going to New Jersey because I want to play with Luke and Jack, then you do a sign and trade and you get like someone like, I don't even know. Would they send Nico Hischier? I don't know. That would be nuts. Dawson Mercer, I think, is there. Actually, you'd probably get Simon Nemec, a top defenseman. So, I mean, you would get New Jersey's got things to get rid of if they want Quinn Hughes. So,
yeah,
you could make that move.
Also, I just learned Jake Allen is still playing for them recently. I kind of forgot he was there. So that was a fun thing to see on Twitter recently.
He was kicking butt this year or earlier this year. I don't know how he's doing since then, but he was doing pretty well off the start.
That's awesome. Love that for him.
So, all right. We've been a little bit of everywhere, which is great. That's exactly how this podcast is supposed to work. We are an hour and 12 minutes in, and we like to stop somewhere around that hour mark. So, but we've been killing it. So
that happened quickly.
Yeah, I know, right? I looked up at the clock earlier and it said 50 minutes. And I'm like, we have not been talking for 50 minutes. There's no way. But yeah, I mean, between the most recent games, we kind of went over injuries. We talked about who we're going to pick in the draft if we get the top pick. It turned into trades and injuries and all that stuff. So we've covered a lot this episode. Bruce, was there anything else that you wanted to get into before we go?
Not really. I'm just really excited for the potential of this team the next few years as these young guys start to come up.
Yeah, we should see. I think it's going to be a pretty scary Blues Blackhawks rivalry coming back here.
I mean, Snuggie and Dalibor are already lighting it up. Once Carbonneau and Stenberg are in full swing and Jiricek is up, Jiricek scored an insane overtime goal at the World Juniors. But so
yeah, that was fun to watch. That was freaking sweet.
I'm so excited for the next couple of years. We just have to get through this season to get there.
Yes, sir. All right, Dakota, anything else?
No, we covered a lot. An hour and 13 minutes of just straight hammering away at what we're seeing now. But like I said, greener pastures ahead. Or we just fucking tank and we just talk about Ivar Stenberg joining the St. Louis Blues. Either way,
it's a win-win.
You said Gavin McKenna weird.
Huh. It's weird. Did I say that?
All right. Go get your coffee. Check out Hughes Custom Designs. Check out Imprint Labs. Our free sponsor for today is the Greg Holthouse Memorial Foundation. If you want to check them out, they are on social media. Bruce, give me a big let's go Blues, and we'll get out of here.
Let's go Blues.
Ooh, see you, everybody.